Look, I used to work 80 to 100 hours per week in my emergency room just to make ends meet. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Zoda. I own an education company where we help doctors build passive income by selling their knowledge online. In today's video, I'm going to share with you basically my origin story. And you guys probably, if you've been following my journey for so long, over the 3 years, you've probably seen me grow from $0 to my name as a burnout, underpaid, overworked doctor in the emergency room to growing to a multi-million dollar passive income source every single year, fully automated from my laptop. And so in today's video, I want to share with you how I used to work 80 to 100 hours per week in my hospital just to make ends meet. And back then I felt like a cog in a machine. I felt like a hamster in a wheel, spinning my wheels, trading my time for money, slaving away at the emergency room until I eventually burn out. And if I wanted to earn more, I knew that I needed to work more. I was capped by my earning potential, right? It didn't matter how hard I work, right? There were only 24 hours in the day, and the only way to make more was to do more shifts, right, and to really work slave-like hours. It just wasn't sustainable after a certain time, especially because I want to spend more time with my family, even take good care of the people that I love, and eventually I kind of realized that I just built a prison for myself. This is not this is something they won't tell you in medical school, by the way. They don't tell you in medical school that, hey, yes, they do tell you in medical school it's going to be a lot of sacrifice, a lot of schooling, a lot of learning, but they don't tell you that you're going to be completely sleep deprived, completely burn out, that you're going to have to deal with all this hospital drama, the paperwork, the bureaucracy, and really, I entered medical school because I wanted to help more people. But when I became a doctor, I realized that I was only spending like 2 to 3% of my time actually helping people, and 97% of my time dealing with all this hospital drama and bureaucracy and paperwork and insurance claims. Blah, 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 blah. It's crazy. I didn't like it. So ultimately, if I took a few days off, literally everything would fall apart. And I even, I know I have colleagues that work in private practice as well, and they share with me it's the same thing. They can't even take a vacation with their loved ones. They can't even take a vacation with their children because the moment they take a vacation, it almost seems like everything just falls apart. And so ultimately, I loved helping patients, but it was just grueling. It was exhausting. And if you've been following my story, you know that I even suffered from 2 panic attacks in a pretty young age and even slammed my face, my right cheek, onto a desk. And now I have a scar to show for. I was just really burnt out. It wasn't fun for me anymore. The truth is, I didn't have a career. I actually just had a job, and it's generous to even call it a job. It was more like working like a slave. I had no control over my time, my health, or my relationships, and I had no the one thing that really bothered me was that I had no leverage or systems. I had nothing working for me, right? I was working for the healthcare system. I was working for the entire broken education system, but nothing was really working for me. I had no leverage. I couldn't remove myself from my time. I couldn't remove myself to achieve the freedoms that I really wanted. Everything felt like it was on my shoulders. Everything felt like it kind of just relied on me. And it really took me a long time. It really took me a little break before I can step away from my day to day and just analyze and break down the life that I was living and realize just how messed up everything actually was. I needed to redesign my life. And I had to really come to terms with the fact that if I ever even wanted anything in my life, whether it's my dream life, my dream relationships, my dream business, if I wanted anything to be different, then I would have to start doing things differently. Because if I change nothing, then nothing changes. I needed a plan because if without a plan, I'm planning because most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. And so I sat down one night during one of my really terrible shifts. I just could not sleep. I could not even nap. And I came up with a plan. I discovered something online, and it wasn't easy, but I knew it had to be done. I watched a video similar to the one that you're watching right now, and something just clicked in my head. I realized, first of all, what did I actually want? That was the first question I wrote down in my journal. I needed and I wanted to become the master of my own time, not the slave. I wanted to control my own schedule, to be my own boss, to have the flexibility to work as much as I want and as little as I want. I want to work because I want to and not because I have to. That was the only line that I wrote. It was time, the time freedom. That was really, really important to me. And despite that, I didn't know how to begin. But at least now I have a plan. At least now I have an intention, right? And I think a lot of people they don't even have a plan. And not having a plan is just like showing up to the airport without a ticket. You don't know where you're gonna end up, right? I think life is like a GPS. You got to be really honest with where you're at, your current situation, and you got to be really honest with where you want to go. You got to admit to yourself and allow yourself to admit what you truly and ardently desire. And if you plot these two coordinates almost like a GPS, onto a GPS, then you know exactly you'll be able to map out a route to get to where you want to go. But it all starts with that clarity. It all starts with knowing exactly where you're at and being really honest with yourself and knowing exactly where you want to go. We do this with our patients quite naturally, right? If you have cancer, we're going to be really we're going to break bad news. We're going to be really honest with your diagnosis because by acknowledging where you're at right now, we can empower ourselves to get to where we want to go. It's the same with like things like losing weight, controlling your blood pressure. You gotta be able to measure where exactly you are. What can't be measured can't be managed, and you need to know exactly with certainty and with honesty where you're at in order to map out where you want to go. And I think most doctors, this is the biggest mistake that they make. They're not honest with where they're at financially. They're not honest with the fact that they're completely broke. And they just continue working. They just continue slaving like a cog in a machine. It's kind of silly. What they need to do is make more income. What they need to do is make more money. What they need to do is buy back their time because they just simply don't have that much time left. And each single year, each single month that passes with you not knowing how to make more money is keeping you poor. Just like the billionaire investor Warren Buffett says, if you don't find a way to make money even while you sleep, you're just going to have to work until the day you die. It's just simple math. And so, look, going back to my story, I had no idea where I wanted to begin because this is stuff that they never even taught us in medical school, much less in business school, much less in our day-to-day life. But I knew that mastering my time freedom was essential to my success. I needed this, almost like a human right. I was sleep deprived, burnout, super miserable, unhappy with the way my hospital was doing things, and I needed to find a way to make it work. People only change out of inspiration or desperation, and for me, it was definitely out of desperation. I felt like I had my back against the wall. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I needed to figure something out. And so, after fighting this internal battle and going nowhere for pretty much my first few months in business, I was doubting myself. I felt like an imposter. I felt like nobody would even watch me. Nobody would be able to learn from me. People would. I was really judgmental on other people and also really skeptical on the entire market. I felt like this can't be done. I felt like it was just too good to be true to make money online and live on a private island or just travel around the world with my laptop. I felt like it was too good to be true because, I mean, that's what my parents told me, and that's what the medical schooling education told me, and that's what my colleagues told me. And because I was surrounded by poor people, of course I started thinking like a poor person. Because I was surrounded by, people that don't have that winner's mindset, people that aren't actually millionaires and doing really well for themselves. Of course, I felt too that that was the best way I can move forward. So ultimately, what did I do? Even though I was strapped for cash, I had $0. In fact, I was like $240, $240,000 drowning in student loans. I knew that I had to figure this out, and despite being strapped for cash, I had access to credit, and so I was committed to figuring it out. After a lot of trial and error, back when the online course and the e-learning economy was just in its infancy, after a lot of trial and error, I finally discovered this one simple thing that I can actually do in order to generate more income, not just income, but passive income by leveraging the expertise and knowledge that I already had. And since then, I've gone on to grow from zero to multi-million-dollar passive income, $3 million in passive income in my first year with an online course. And so, look, the reason I share that is not because I want to brag or it's not to show off because that's not cool. The reason I want to share that is because I know a lot of people inside the community are very inspired by my story. They look at me as almost like sometimes it might just be a belief that they think it's too good to be true. But at the end of the day, I'm nothing special. I am not superhuman. I have no superpowers. I have nothing. All I have for going for me is just a good head above my shoulders, the humbleness and the willingness to learn, and the wisdom to actually just throw money into investing in myself, investing in the right mentors to guide me, to show me what they've done themselves. I don't just invest in those gurus or those random people that tell you how you can make money online that haven't ever actually done it themselves. No, I only invest into mentors that have actually done the things that I want to do myself. So, for example, recently I invested $20,000 to someone inside the not inside the marketing space in order to learn how I can grow my own team, in order to hire, to become a better leader, and to grow and align my mission, which is to decentralize and democratize medicine. I personally paid $20,000 just for 3 months to be coached by him so that I can ultimately lead my team and I can ultimately lead my students to achieve better and better results. Even though we're already getting fantastic success rate, I always want to push the edge. I always want to over deliver and under promise. And so, yeah, just continuously invest in yourself. And, of course, like 3 years into business, 3 years later, since I first started reading like seriously business books, um, I've just been sharing my strategies with the people that are willing to listen, and we've just been growing from there. And so, blah blah blah. At this point, you probably know about my digital doctor program. We help over 400 doctors build passive income with one online course. You can probably pop out the testimonials over here. In case you're not aware, we offer a free training video that compiles all my research that shows you how I went from being zero burnout doctor, drowning in student loans, to making multiple millions in passive income in my first 12 months in with the online course. And so, if you want to learn how to do the same, check out the free training video. It shows you step by step how I was able to accomplish those results and how I've helped 400 doctors inside my program to help them achieve similar results. And our program is super intensive. It's like we give our students. Well, I'm not gonna promise anything in this video, but we take really good care of our students. Let's put it at that. We offer really close coaching, weekly calls, and that's part of the reason why they get such great results. Anyway, it's getting late at night. I'm not gonna pitch you. I have nothing to sell you, and I make these doctors mostly for myself to document my own journey, but also because there's a lot of overworked and underpaid doctors, and I don't want you to be one of them. So take care. Good night. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening.